Good morning. You're listening to Slices of Wenatchee. We're excited to bring you a closer look at one of our top stories and other important happenings every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. Today, it's time for another installment of Rotten Apples, our weekly movie review. Each Thursday, our team will talk about the latest film releases, what they loved, what fell flat, and whether it's worth your time. Before we continue, have you joined Neighbor yet? If not, download the app today and join local conversations about issues that matter. Neighbor is a site just for our local community focused on facts, not misinformation. Best of all, it's free for everyone. To learn more, visit wenatcheeworld.com/NABUR. Now, let's jump in.
Hello, this is Oscar Rodriguez, your host of Rotten Apples, the Wenatchee World's movie podcast. On today's episode, we'll be discussing Honey Don't, written and directed by Ethan Coen, and with me to discuss it, I have
Matea.
Before we begin the discussion, I'll just read out a brief description of the film from the Sun Basin Theater's website. Honey O'Donoghue, a small-town private investigator, delves into a series of strange deaths tied to a mysterious church. So, just with that, Matea, what did you think of the movie?
I had a fun time with it. I saw some reviews that said that it felt a little bit incomplete, which I can see where people come from that, but I think for me part of the charm was that it didn't fully answer all the questions.
Okay, but just to sort of like get at the very basic question, did you enjoy watching the film?
I did, yeah.
Okay.
But I'm also very biased because I find both Margaret Qualley and Aubrey Plaza really attractive, so that might have clouded my judgment.
Okay, that's fair. There's a lot of very attractive men and women in this film, and that is somewhat, I guess you could call it a strength of the film. I guess coming to before we get into any more specifics, to my general feelings on the film, I have to say I can't say I strongly disliked it, but I will say that it's among my least favorite movies of the year, unfortunately. And this is coming from a guy who especially likes, at least in this case, one half here of the Coen brothers, Ethan Coen, with the usual projects he does with his brother. There's a lot of classics you can name off, No Country for Old Men, Big Lebowski, Fargo. But ever since Ethan Coen has kind of split off and done his own films, Drive Away Dolls was, I believe, his previous project, and then Honey Don't. I can't say I've really enjoyed either of the projects. So I guess before we get into anything more specific, I would not recommend folks go see this movie, unfortunately. Maybe wait for it to come to streaming before you check it out. I'm a bit disappointed, unfortunately, but, since, it's good to have opposing viewpoints. So just to sort of switch it back to you, Matea, any particular scenes or anything in particular you wanted to specify as to why you liked it?
Yeah. I do think I did laugh out loud at some parts. I thought Chris Evans was really funny in this.
Mm-hmm.
His role was really kooky, and I like seeing him in that kind of role. I like what he's been doing since, leaving
Captain
Marvel.
America.
Yeah. So I thought that was a highlight for me.
Yeah, I will say, despite, my sort of very negative beginning here, I will say that I did laugh at several points in the film. I think Ethan Coen and his writing partner, I think there's two writers on the film. I'm forgetting the name of the lady. I think it's Trisha Cook. So someone in the comments might be able to correct me on that. They're very funny. I think there's several laugh out loud moments. But again, to just bring it back to the negative side of things, I just don't think it comes together altogether very well as a film, as a collection of scenes. If you wanted to sort of get real basic description of a film. But yeah, like you said, there's definitely very funny moments. Chris Evans is definitely a highlight of the film. The kind of character he plays is definitely a very sharp contrast to what folks are probably used to seeing him in. But again, some of the dialogue and the sort of overall tone of the film, I can't tell if it's trying to be really campy and then sometimes kind of do a wink because they're actually playing it kind of straight, or if it's a mix of the both, kind of tongue in cheek. And I don't think it really helps the film when like the sort of plot is, without exaggeration, very, very thin. given for folks to know, this is an 80-minute, I think it's 88 minutes runtime. So it's a very short film to sort of get at a sort of like mystery sort of story, as we described in the plot synopsis, with not a lot of mystery that lasts very long. It all kind of starts and it kind of ends pretty quickly, and it resolves very, very quickly, unfortunately, which I think might leave some folks a little unsatisfied.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. I think there was a lot of buildup for and a very quick ending. Yeah, and I do agree with you. Like, as much as I had fun with it, I don't necessarily think it's one that you need to go see in theaters. I think once it comes out on streaming, if you're looking for something just really short and like kind of not needing a lot of brain energy just to pop on, I would say maybe watch it. But yeah, I don't think you necessarily need to go to the theater for it either.
Okay. But since we're talking about some of the works of Ethan Coen here, did you prefer Drive Away Dolls, for example, or this latest film?
Ooh, that's a good question. It's been a while since I've watched Drive Away Dolls, so I might have to watch it again to compare it. But I think for me, Drive Away Dolls, if I remember right, was more jarring. Like, I had a more visceral reaction to some of the horror in that as opposed to this one. So
really interesting. Okay, I would have thought the opposite. I thought Drive Away Dolls was a lot not as intense until like the very end, but without giving away any spoilers. I will say though, for any folks that are either interested in this film, Honey Don't, or their Ethan Coen's previous film, Drive Away Dolls, the subject matters are pretty similar. Some have started colloquially to call it like the sort of it'll make more sense, but a sort of lesbian trilogy, given that Ethan Coen's announced that they're doing another film in the sort of same vein. That if folks in the audience have listened to, have watched either of the film, will kind of get a sense of what I'm talking about. So I guess if you enjoy Drive Away Dolls, I'd probably encourage you to watch Honey Don't, because they're somewhat similar in both tone, style, and subject matter. And perhaps be excited for whatever Ethan Coen has in store for the future.
Yeah. I will say for me, as a queer woman, it is fun to just see like lesbian stories that aren't necessarily about being lesbian, that just have lesbian characters. That's kind of just fun for me. So
yeah, that's absolutely fair. That's absolutely fair. But yeah, I think that wraps up our discussion for today. Let us know via Facebook by reaching out to us on our website what you thought about the film, or if you have other films you'd like to see us discuss. But thank you very much for listening.
For more, head over to WenatcheeWorld.com. Are you passionate about the issues shaping North Central Washington? Then you won't want to miss the Wenatchee World Forum at Pybus. This monthly event brings together newsmakers and the community to dive into the topics that matter most. It's your chance to engage, ask questions, and be part of the conversation shaping our region's future. Have questions or need more info? Visit WenatcheeWorld.com/forum. Now, a few other stories you should know about. Several local school districts are pushing back after federal cuts briefly jeopardized funding for English learner programs this summer. Wenatchee and Eastmont both faced uncertainty when more than $2.7 million in bilingual and migrant education support was suddenly withheld, though the money was later restored. Educators say the programs are crucial for supporting students in a bicultural, biliterate region. While Wenatchee's dual language initiative will continue, leaders remain concerned about long-term federal support and are already preparing for potential future gaps in funding. If you've noticed your favorite restaurant suddenly carding more strictly, there might be a reason. A total of 14 violations have been recorded in Chelan and Douglas counties this year by the Washington State Liquor and Cannabis Board. Businesses were cited for serving minors, misusing licenses, or employing servers who were underage or unlicensed. The Olive Garden in East Wenatchee, for example, was fined after a 19-year-old was served alcohol in a lounge area. To see the full list of businesses and violations, head to WenatcheeWorld.com. Drivers take note. Knapp Hill Tunnel on U.S. Highway 97A will be closed from September 8th through 24th as crews upgrade its lighting system. The closure is part of a $1.8 million project by WSDOT, and 2 detour routes will be in place. The new lighting system will improve safety and add backup power in case of blackouts. After nearly 14 years with the Chelan County Sheriff's Office, Chief Civil Deputy Kim Oglesby is taking on a new role as Wenatchee's next Human Resources Director. Her appointment is set to go before the City Council today. Oglesby served as CFO, Communications Lead, and oversaw IT and civil departments. Sheriff Mike Morrison praised her professionalism and dedication, calling her departure a big loss for the department, but a big win for the city. Thanks for listening. For more information on all the stories you heard today, visit us at WenatcheeWorld.com. The Wenatchee World has been engaging, informing, and inspiring North Central Washington communities since 1905. We encourage you to subscribe today to keep your heart and mind connected to what matters most in North Central Washington. Thanks for starting your morning with us, and don't forget to subscribe to Slices of Wenatchee wherever you listen to podcasts.